Today's video, I'm going to be giving you guys what I think are the top 5 loadouts for Warzone 2 at this current time. Obviously, this is all subject to change as we learn more. We don't know everything about tuning. We don't even have the stats for all the attachments yet. So this is going to be very feel-based. This is going to be very community-based, based on what I've seen and felt when I was playing. But yeah, all of this could change. But for now, I think these are going to be some really solid loadouts for you guys. And this video is going to be less explanation-based and more just, this is what I think feels the best right now and works the best in Warzone. And again, that's because we just don't have all the information, so I can't really talk about those things yet. But let's get straight into it, and we'll start talking about what I think are the top 5 loadouts. Something unique about Warzone 2.0 that we didn't have in Warzone 1 is the ability to have a medium backpack or a large backpack and actually carry a third weapon. So that's what this first loadout is going to be geared towards. Basically, we're going to have a super close range SMG. We're going to have a mid-range gun that destroys everything mid-range. And then we're also going to carry a fast rechambering sniper as our third weapon in the backpack, so you have that for longer range engagements or if somebody's on a head glitch or something like that. So the close range SMG that this loadout's going to use is the Lachmann Sub. If we go through the Gunsmith here, we've got the Singuard MKV suppressor. That is chosen because it just has what appears to be the least penalty on ADS while still giving good bullet velocity and damage range. We don't want to reduce that damage range because it already has pretty short damage range. Because it's an MP5 and it already has the no stock, it's going to have really fast ADS times here. So we don't need to worry about that hurting our ADS time too much. We want the 50 round mag just because, 50 rounds is pretty much essential if you're playing trios or quads. I like an optic, so all of my builds are going to have optics. I feel like in this game especially, there's a lot more muzzle smoke and things like that. It's just harder to see people while you're shooting, so I like to have as clear a picture of the target as I can. Because if I can't see the person, I can't shoot them. So that's why we have the slimline optic on here. And then the 1 milliwatt quickfire laser is one of my favorite attachments just because it has no cons. This is like has like a slight tinge of blue color, and the enemies can't see it. So they can see the dot on the wall where you're ADS'd on, but they can't see the laser going through the air, which is really the thing that those green lasers and red lasers have. It's a big penalty because in this game they're very obvious, very easy to see. So those lasers can directly tell the enemy where you are if it's ever visible. So that's why I really like the quickfire. This gun, I just felt like we didn't really need anything else. We didn't need recoil control because we already have it on the suppressor. That kind of counters the stockless mod on the stock. And then better ADS time is always a good thing. So that's why I went with the quickfire laser. As far as tuning goes, as far as I'm aware, these radar plots are relatively accurate. So we can use them to pick specific tunings rather than just going all the way to one side. And I made a video about this where I said that these things are non-linear. So if you look at this as I move the slider here, they change at different rates, and sometimes they even reverse directions. So I'm not going to go through all of these, but basically I have them tuned already before I recorded this video for what I think is the best spot to have them. So for the muzzle, approximately minus 0.63 ounces to bring it a little bit more towards aim down sight speed. Again, we're using this super up close, so we don't care about the recoil too much. And then bullet velocity is always nice to have, and aiming idle stability doesn't do much for us at all. Super close range, so in this case, all the way to the right for bullet velocity seems to be the best. For the optics, basically the close or far, it's not like your actual eye position. It's not the optics position on the gun itself. It's actually the whole gun's position, so it either brings the whole gun closer to your face or pushes it away. So for SMGs, I tend to like it closer to my face, just so I have basically it makes the optic like bigger, so you can see more of the target where you're shooting. Gets the optic out of the way a little bit more. And then for tuning on flinch resistance versus ADS time, we basically want the best ADS time we can get. We're looking at the handling spot on the radar plot. You can see that it gets a lot higher there, then it slows down, then it gets a lot higher again. So basically all the way on this one, all the way minus 3 ounces is the best for ADS. The other 3 attachments, the 1 milliwatt quickfire laser, stockless mod, and 50 round drum, those all do not have any tuning, so we don't need to talk about that. But overall, the Lachmann Sub has the best ADS movement of any of the SMGs, and it basically ties the Fennec and the Vaznev as having the best time to kill at both 200 and 250 health, which are the 2 common values in Warzone 2. So I think this is a really, really good SMG build. All right, onto the RPK. So RPK dominates right now. In my opinion, it's the best long-range gun, best mid-range gun. That's an automatic. It just hits super hard, and it's also very controllable. Right off the bat, you're going to see something weird here. So this says the canted laser. Basically, this makes it so when you ADS, it doesn't actually pull up to the optic. It just tilts the gun to the side, and you use a laser to aim. Some people love this, some people don't like this. I think it's really, really good. It completely eliminates all the gun shake from being an issue when you're firing the weapon. It also has great stats, so it helps with ADS, aiming stability, and sprint to fire time. It's just a really good attachment overall. I'm one of the people that loves it, so for this being like a mid-range RPK, this isn't supposed to be super, super long range. If it was super long range, I would use an optic, and we'll talk about that because that's obviously going to be one of the loadouts. But for like a mid-range beamer, like 25 to like 50 meters, I love the canted laser. You still have, once you get a hit on the target, you have hit markers, and those markers basically can be your optic because they show you right where the bullet went. So basically, it removes all the gun shake. You still have really good like optic once you hit your shot. Yeah, I think it's a great attachment, and give it a try. If it doesn't work for you after a few games, you can trash it and use just a red dot sight or something. But the fact that it makes the gun shake go away and still gives us better ADS time and better aiming stability, things like that, I really do think it's a good attachment. The reason we're using it on this is because it's a mid-range build for the RPK. The ZLR Talon suppressor is probably my favorite suppressor for a mid to long range gun. The VX Pineapples, the reason we're using the Pineapple instead of one of these like Commando foregrip style grips, if you watch my recoil video, you know these kind of grips tend to help with that gun shake a little bit more than something like the VX Pineapple, which is more just straight up recoil reduction based. That's why we're using the VX Pineapple instead of one of those Commando foregrip style attachments, because we have that canted laser on here. So gun shake's not an issue. It doesn't matter because the gun's completely out of the face. So that's why I like the VX Pineapple. It just makes it really, really beamy. 7.62 high velocity is pretty much an essential attachment on these long range guns. It gives a dramatic improvement to bullet velocity. So that on top of the Talon muzzle gives us phenomenal bullet velocity on this gun. And then rear grip, just a recoil control rear grip, just to help that recoil. The reason I like this one is because it's like the only recoil attachment in the game that doesn't hurt your ADS time, and this being an RPK with 75 round mag and having the Pineapple grip on there, it just has pretty bad ADS time. So I like to use this just so we don't hurt that ADS time even more. Here are the optimal tunings for this mid-range RPK. This is the ZLR Talon, so minus 0.54 ounce towards aim down sight speed. Just trying to get that ADS time down a little bit since this is more of a mid-range gun. And then plus 0.19 inches in length for the suppressor towards bullet velocity. Again, these are just the optimized points I found. Onto the Pineapple, optimized points, I found minus 0.21 ounce towards hip walking speed. So this is just going to help your mobility a little bit, your ability to walk a little bit faster. Aim down sight speed versus hip fire accuracy, so minus 0.27 inches in length. That is what I found was the optimal point for ADS time on the Pineapple grip. On this gun, it does seem to vary based on the gun. Onto the high velocity ammunition, minus 0.54 grams of weight for a little bit better recoil, and then plus 2.9 grams on the horizontal slider towards bullet velocity, so that's kind of a nice balance there. For the demo rear grip, we have the vertical slider at plus 0.58, so you can see it right there. That's towards recoil steadiness, just to help with recoil a little bit. And then on the horizontal slider, from sprint to fire speed to aim or idle stability, plus 0.19 inches. These are both the optimized points for the rear grip. Okay, so on to the SPX. So like I said, this is a 3-weapon build here. So you got the SMG, you've got the RPK, and you got the SPX sniper rifle. Talking about snipers in general for a second, in this game, none of the snipers one-shot whatsoever. So I think it is important to think about what that means for which snipers are actually going to be good. So we want either really fast fire rate so we can get 2 shots on the target quickly and down them, or super high bullet velocity. Those tend to be the most important things, as well as quick ADS time, because you want to be able to ADS quickly as you see a target. So I'd say those are the 3 most important things: high bullet velocity, fast rechambering speed, the ability to get a second shot off quickly, and then also just chest damage. That's something I didn't mention before, but you want to be able to 2-shot chest shot somebody. So in my opinion, the only 2 snipers really right now that are super good for Warzone 2 would be the SPX 80 and the Signal 50, just because they can both shoot so fast. The SPX has a little bit faster ADS time than the LAB. That's why I give it the edge, because they shoot basically the same speed, they have basically the same damage. But both the SPX and the Signal 50 can 2-shot to the chest at any range, and they do really quick rechambering, so they can both get a second shot off very quickly. So that's why I've gone with the SPX on this. You can go with the Signal 50 as well, but this is going to have dramatically faster ADS time than the Signal 50. So for this, we've got the Talon 16 muzzle, high velocity ammunition, the FSS ST87 bolt, that's the quick rechambering bolt, so you can get your second shot off really, really fast. The Max DMR precision stock, so this is aiming stability and aim down sight time, which are two things that we really, really want with this gun. And then the Corio LAZ44 V3 laser, this is basically the TAQ laser, gives ADS time and aiming stability. As far as how to build this, like tuning wise, really it's up to you. So if you want to build them for aiming stability, just do the same thing I did, where you look at the little radar plot and pick the point where it makes the most sense, where you get the most benefit without hurting the other stat as much as possible. And same for ADS time. I would say ADS time or aiming stability are the two things you really want to maximize with this, with tuning. As I'm going through all these loadouts, if you guys appreciate all of the work that I put into all this stuff, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Usually about 40% of the people watching are not subscribed. And if you want to help support this video individually, a like and a comment also goes a long way. So I would appreciate that, but let's get back into the loadouts. On to the next loadout. This one's just going to be a standard 2-weapon loadout. So this is going to be the RPK and the AK-74u. So you'll notice those are both ARs, which means they both use AR ammo. It's not nearly as much of an issue in Warzone 2.0 because you can just carry more and more ammo in your backpack if you want. You don't just have to carry those 210 rounds. So the logic behind this is that the RPK, built for really long range, is going to be very slow to ADS. You're not going to want to use it inside, 30 meters or so. So that's where the AK-74u comes in just perfect. Much longer damage range than a normal SMG, while still having very much SMG mobility, and pretty good ADS time and pretty good sprint to fire time. Not going to be quite as good as an SMG there, but it balances that out with having much more damage range and very easy to control recoil. So the RPK built with long range, basically exactly the same here. So we've got the ZLR Talon suppressor, we've got the high velocity ammunition, Corio LAZ44 V3 laser. This is the TAQ laser again. This is aiming stability and aim down sight speed. The Schlager 3.4x optic. This is probably my favorite optic right now for long range. It just has the best ADS time compared to all the variable zoom scopes, and it's the shortest zoom that still has quite a bit of zoom, if that makes sense. So like the holographics are like 1.5x ish, and this is more like a 2x or a 2.5x, so you get a little bit more zoom, but it's still not so much zoom that the recoil is unmanageable. So that's currently my favorite optic. I would definitely recommend getting that unlocked and use that. As far as tuning goes, the Talon's going to be the same as the other RPK. The FTAC Ripper, so we tend to want to use this mostly for recoil stabilization, just because we're using this gun for long range, so we want recoil stabilization over ADS time. So I'll show you my process here of how I tune these. Basically, I'm looking at the recoil and accuracy indicators here. You can see they're going up and they kind of stall, but the handling continues to go down. So really, if you go all the way, you only get a tiny bit more recoil stabilization, but much worse handling. So I'm pretty much going to go like somewhere like right in here, where the recoil stabilization is basically maximized already, but we're not hurting our handling and ADS time any more than we have to. Aiming idle stability versus aim walking speed, we tend to want less idle sway, so we're gonna tune towards idle stability here. So we're gonna be looking at accuracy mostly. So you can see accuracy kind of spikes up right there, doesn't get too much higher after that. So right in this spot is where we want to go, because it doesn't hurt the mobility as much as all the way up does, but we get basically the same amount of positive gains out of it. Quickly going through the other tunings here, high velocity tunings, minus 0.56 grams and plus 2.03 grams in horizontal. And then for the optic, I tend to like close. Close is going to increase that gun shake, so it's going to make the gun feel like it's shaking a little bit more, but you just have a much clearer picture of the target. That's why I tend to like that a little more. And then for flinch resistance versus ADS time, I've got minus 2.42 ounces towards aim down sight speed. Like I said, this pairs perfectly with the AK-74u. I like suppressors, even though they don't do that much in this game. They're quieter, and they do a little bit of help with the mini-map and the compass. So that's why I still like them, even though they're not as necessary. I chose the Echo line because it hurts damage range, but it doesn't hurt your ADS time, which is the big thing here. Almost all the suppressors hurt your ADS time, so this one's going to change or reduce your damage range, but we have the AK-74u, which is an AR, which means that we already have really long damage range, so we don't care about a little bit of reduction there to keep that ADS time low and keep it more like an SMG. And then we have the FSS. So this is the TAQ laser, but it also has added sprint to fire speed help. So I like this laser a lot for this gun specifically because it's an AR again, so it has AR sprint to fire time. We're trying to reduce that down to be more like an SMG. So ADS time and sprint to fire both are very helpful in that regard. As far as stock goes, this tends to be my favorite stock. It just helps with ADS, walking speed, and sprint speed with really very few cons. You'll notice with this build, I'm not really changing it too much. I'm trying to just basically make it a little bit more like an SMG while not adding too many bad penalties. So we've got the 45 round mag. That's the last attachment. Tuning for this gun. So the Echo line, the Echo line suppressor, minus 0.63 ounces towards ADS time, plus 5.52 towards bullet velocity. The laser doesn't have any tuning. Optic again, I like close. And then we want more ADS time help here. So as far as optimizing this goes, it looks like right in here, minus 0.89 ounces towards ADS time. That looks like the optimal spot for that. For the stock, we've got minus 0.9 ounce towards ADS time and minus 0.62 inches towards and walking speed. These first two loadouts I just went through are probably my personal favorite. I think both of them are really, really good in their own way. This one's a little bit easier to get, obviously, because you only need two guns, and it's very versatile at all ranges. But let's keep going. We'll get into 3 through 5. All right, next up we have a loadout that doesn't even require an overkill perk to be chosen. So this is going to be the TAQ-56. TAQ-56 is one of the easiest to control weapons in the game right now. It's definitely a lot of people's favorite. So this is going to be an iron sight TAQ-56 that I'm going to talk about here. Again, candid laser is amazing, but in this case, because TAQ-56 is our only long-range gun, we might need to take fights more than 50, 60 meters. This is where I feel like the candid laser kind of stops being so good. So in this case, we have the regular, basically TAQ laser on here, the Corio LAZ-44. Harbinger, D20 muzzle, FTAC Ripper underbarrel, high velocity ammunition, 60 round mag. This is going to have pretty good ADS time, pretty good mobility, really easy to control recoil. And because it has iron sights, the recoil is going to feel like it's even less. It's going to be small amount of visual, small amount of actual recoil that you have to control because you're so zoomed out with those iron sights. This is a really, really popular gun right now, especially with iron sights. As far as tuning goes, for the muzzle, we have plus 0.41 ounces towards recoil smoothness, and then plus 0.42 inches on the horizontal towards bullet velocity. For the FTAC Ripper, we have plus 0.13 ounce towards recoil stabilization, plus 0.23 horizontal towards aiming idle stability. Overall, yeah, this is to be paired with Akimbo pistols. So we got the Akimbo X12s, which I think are the best Akimbo pistols in the game right now. These are very similar to like the M19s in Warzone 1, which were very, very good, if you remember that. These will just delete people up close. Pretty easy to use, really good hip fire. So we have the FT Steelfire suppressor. The reason that's on there is because it gives damage range, which is what we're really looking for here. We don't care about ADS time, any of that stuff. We don't care about aim walking speed. Like, this is the perfect suppressor for an all hip fire Akimbo pistol build. So for tuning on there, we've got tuned all the way to recoil smoothness just because there's no ADS time, so we don't care about that. There might be one specific spot here that gives slightly more recoil. So you can see it actually goes a little bit down towards the end, but not much. So really, I think all the way up is fine there. Then we're tuned all the way to bullet velocity because aiming idle stability we don't care about either. For the trigger action, this makes the pistols be able to shoot faster. So we've got plus 0.09 ounce towards recoil smoothness on the vertical, and then minus 0.08 inches towards sprint to fire speed. That's just maximizing the sprint to fire speed all the way down to the left. Actually had worse sprint to fire speed than this minus 0.08. Obviously sprint to fire is really very important on an aggressive SMG or Akimbo pistols. For laser, we'll just go with the laser that gives the best hip fire. So this 1mm pistol laser tends to be the best hip fire. If you don't want the lasers to be visible, then you want the X10 sidearm L400. Either one, they're both good, but obviously the 1mm is going to give you better hip fire. And if you're pushing people, it might not matter so much that your lasers are visible. There are definitely times where you want to sit around a corner and wait for somebody to push you, and you don't want them to know you're looking right at the entrance where they're about to come through. So either one of these, very good options. Obviously Akimbo on the rear grip, and then magazine size. If you find that 24 is not enough for you, just use 33. I think the 50 round drum is going to slow you down so much. I probably wouldn't recommend those, but Try the 24 first. If that doesn't seem like enough shots for you, go to the 33. But this loadout overall is very, very good. And once we get the perk packages working a little bit better, some of them are very buggy right now. This is going to be an excellent, excellent loadout. I do just want to mention quickly on this TAQ-56, that same TAQ-56 would work really well with a really aggressive SMG like the Fennec, or the MP5 built for super close range action, or a shotgun. This TAQ-56 is basically built to be pretty good at all ranges, pretty good up close as well. So that is why it goes with those Akimbo pistols. So anything that's really close range is also going to pair really well with this TAQ-56. Alright, on to the Signal 50 loadout. So this is going to be the Signal 50 with the AK-74u. We'll go over the 74u first. This is obviously a sniper support version of the 74u. We've got the FSS Covert Suppressor. I like this one because it just doesn't hurt the damage range at all, and it really doesn't hurt your ADS time as much. So that fits in really nicely with a sniper support build. We're trying to not slow this down too much because we want it to work as an SMG while still working at range. So that's why I really like that. So tuning wise, we've got this tuned plus 0.5 ounces towards recoil smoothness, trying to help the recoil. And then on the horizontal slider, usually we would do bullet velocity, but in this case we have high velocity on this AK-74u anyway, and it's not made to be used at extreme ranges, kind of just, 40-ish meters and in. So we're actually going to tune towards aiming idle stability rather than bullet velocity, so minus 0.48 inches there. Underbarrel, we're just trying to make the recoil a little bit better, so we get the phase 3 grip on there. This is very much like a Commando 4 grip and how it works. We are tuned towards recoil again, so plus 0.44 ounces towards recoil stabilization. And then aim walking speed versus idle stability. We're going to tune this towards aim walking speed just because, again, we want to be able to take those SMG fights as well with this. So minus 0.32 inches towards aimed walking speed was the optimal point there. High velocity ammunition, minus 0.54 grams towards recoil smoothness, and then plus 2.32 grams towards the bullet velocity. 45 round mag, just the biggest magazine the AK-74u has. Not much else to say there. For the Slimline Pro optic, minus 0.68 ounces towards aim down sight speed, and then plus 2.4 inches towards eye position. Again, I just like it close to my eye, just so I have a better sight picture. But this just varies based on the person, so you can try close and far in the firing range, see which one you like more. I think pretty much undoubtedly the AK-74u is the best sniper support right now, so no matter what sniper you like using, I think the AK-74u is the gun to look at right now for sniper support. And then for the Signal 50, we've got the Bruin L40 Cobra muzzle, 50 cal high velocity ammunition, basically the Corio LAZ-44 V3 laser. Again, this is just the TAQ laser. Optic, this is personal preference. I like the Luca Bandera. It's very much like the 3-6X from Caldera. Feels very much like that. Shout out to FPSKrieger for showing this one to me, but I like it a lot. And it really gives you pretty high zoom as well as really low zoom if you want it. It has a very clear sight picture, very clear crosshair. And it also seems to help the ADS time over the default optic a little bit, so that's kind of why I picked that there. 7-round mag, there's a couple of things on here that are very personal preference based. If you wanted to go with a barrel for more bullet velocity, then you would probably want to go with this 29-inch TV barrel. This gun does have relatively low bullet velocity. That's one of the ways they balance it with its very fast fire rate. It's at 200 meters, it was like 900 meters per second that I measured versus like the SPX, which was a little under 1100, and the LAB, which was like 1250-ish. So if you wanted more bullet velocity, you could do that. It's just going to make the ADS time really, really slow. So that's basically what I was avoiding by building it this way. And I love the 7-round mag because you can just get so many shots off so quick with this thing, and it has a bad reload time that I feel like it's worth using the 7-round mag. But it would make sense if you didn't want to use that. So this is a gun that's pretty much good no matter how you build it. You just need to build it towards your preferences. This is built towards my preferences here, but it's going to be good if you build it towards bullet velocity. It's going to be good if you build it towards better ADS time. This is kind of just Tony's build, so this is what I like. I'm not saying this is the only way to build it, best way to build it even for you specifically. So for tunings on the suppressor, we've got minus 0.45 ounces towards ADS time. On the horizontal, aiming stability and bullet velocity are both important. I found at 0.23 inches to the right towards bullet velocity. It seemed to actually help with both a little bit, so that is where I would go with that. On the high velocity ammunition, damage range versus recoil smoothness, looking at the actual changes to the radar plot, not a whole lot of difference here, so I did minus 0.05 grams, very small amount, and then plus 5.23 grams towards bullet velocity on the horizontal. For the optic, I always do close, especially with the Luca Bandera. I feel like close is better. And then plunge resistance and ADS time are both very important. I think ADS time is probably a little bit more important. So minus 2.42 ounces towards ADS time was the optimized position here. All right, last up here, but definitely not least, we have the TAQ-V and the Fennec. Obviously, the Fennec is extremely popular right now. I feel like it runs out of ammo really fast compared to the MP5, which is why I don't like it quite as much. But I think they're both fantastic. You can't go wrong with either one. The Fennec's going to have better sprint speed for sure. So we'll start with the TAQ-V. TAQ-V is going to be a long-range weapon here. It's basically the TAQ-56, but it just hits harder and has more recoil. But there is something unique I want to talk about here. It has a single shot mode, which actually does more damage in single shot. So this is something that's new in this game. If we go to the firing range, I can show you this. So this second target here, if I have it on automatic right now and I hit this guy with 2 chest shots, he doesn't go down. It takes a third shot to knock him over. But if I swap to single fire mode and then wait for him to come back up, you're going to see that it's going to take 2 chest shots. So with 2 chest shots on single fire mode, it actually takes the guy down. So for ultimately long ranges, you can actually put this thing on single fire mode and hit harder potentially. So I think that's really cool. Just kind of makes the gun a little bit more versatile. The TAQ-V has phenomenal time to kill in its first damage range. So keep it on semi or full auto when they're up close, and you won't have any problem with a recoil when they're up close. It'll beam people inside about 50 meters, and the recoil won't be a problem there. But at range, the recoil can get to be quite a bit. So maybe swap it over to single shot mode, and you can just tap fire and do a little bit extra damage and still get those downs at range. As far as the build goes, I don't have this fully leveled, so I can't give you the tunings, but attachments-wise, these are my favorite attachments. So we've got the Kastov DX90 muzzle. This is basically the suppressor that gives you the best recoil control. Like I said, I still really like suppressors. That's why all my builds have suppressors on them. I just like the sound suppression by itself. Then we got the FTAC Ripper. Again, you can look at my tuning for all the other weapons that I had this on in order to get an idea of how to tune it. And then high velocity ammunition. Again, no brainer on these long-range weapons. 50 round mag is the biggest mag for this. I think it makes sense, even though it hurts the ADS time quite a bit. And then pretty much my favorite optic is the Luca Bandera. This is great for being close range. You can put on that low zoom, use it out to about 50 meters with that on full auto, and then swap to the high zoom and take single shots at people that are further range with the Luca Bandera. So love that build, love this gun. It's pretty nasty out there in Warzone 2.0. As for the Fennec, so the Fennec, we've got the X10RR suppressor. This helps with damage range and bullet velocity. Just pretty much my favorite suppressor for the SMGs. Tuning wise, we got minus 0.27 ounces towards ADS time. A little bit more important on this than recoil because we're up close. And then we've tuned towards bullet velocity over idle stability. Fennec has very low bullet velocity. All the guns in this game have low bullet velocity, so we always want to get that up a little bit if we can. Optimal spot was 0.58 inches towards bullet velocity. We get the 45 round mag. I chose the Fennec rubber grip, rear grip. This hurts your recoil, but it helps sprint to fire and ADS time. We're trying to basically make this just dominate everything up close. So with this, we've got much better sprint to fire time and ADS time, which means that against another SMG, all of a sudden you're going to have the advantage. The reason that I'm building this to beat all the SMGs is because that TAQ-V is going to beat everything from 15 to 50 meters because it has great time to kill. So we really only need this SMG to be effective in really close range. Tuning on that grip, minus 0.77 ounces on the vertical towards aim down sight speed. Again, more important than recoil. And then minus 0.15 inches towards sprint to fire speed. Those are the optimal points to make this even faster for sprint to fire. We've got the Agile Assault 7 stock. This makes the sprint speed even faster. You could run the FTAC stock cap, either one of these. The stock cap obviously is going to make the recoil much worse. I tend to still like semi-controllable recoil, which is why I go with the Agile Assault 7 stock on here. Has still really good SMG properties, better sprint speed, ADS time. Still hurts your recoil, but just not nearly as much as that no stock does. As far as tuning goes, minus 2.71 ounces towards ADS time, and then better aim walking speed on the horizontal, minus 1.16 inches. These are the optimal points. Optics wise, all the way down towards ADS time and all the way to the left towards close is how I like it. But again, those are the gun position, that's personal preference, so do whatever you want there. All right, everybody. I really think this showed a lot of really good loadouts off, really good builds for both primaries, secondaries, even the 3-weapon loadout at the start. Again, this is all subject to change. We don't have any real data except the time to kill data yet. So all of this could change, but for now, I've been paying attention to the community. I've been playing the game myself, talking to all my friends. I really think these are some of the absolute best builds in the game right now. I hope they help you win games. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.